Hi guys, I hope you're okay. Haven't seen you guys for a while, and this is going to be my last video for a little while. God said minimum 5 months, and when I did count it back then it was January. So it might be longer than that, but that's the minimum anyway. The purpose for that is my actual life purpose, that I found out what it was not too long ago, literally after, I found out about, that ministry and, the truth of what they were doing and everything. A lot of things started to become clearer. And my actual life's purpose, I've already started, working on it. But basically I need to get a certificate. So these know nothing people, they're trying to attack not just every area of my life, but also a certificate that I haven't received yet. So they're trying to stop me from achieving something that I still need to get. It's not a problem, I know who my business partner is. I know, who's within me. It's not a problem, but it's just, frustrating. Because I remember when these people went in my life and, it was going to be a lot better. Anything would have been a lot better. It would have been a lot better had they not gone into my life or came into it. But anyway, so when I do come back, and start doing videos, and it's not just YouTube either, God wants me off of all social media for a minute. And again, that's to work on my purpose so I can achieve what I was supposed to achieve, which is my certificate. And the other thing is also so I can advertise, and I've got other stuff on other projects, but I'm not going to talk about it. But also, my divine partner, I've got back with him, and so we're healing each other, in a love zone, happy, and just, giving thanks to God. We're praying as a couple together, and it's just really sweet, guys. It is really sweet. And my family, like my children, I just need to, because we know that, when they can't get at you, the know nothings, they go for your family, they go for your children, they go, and I mean, to be fair, they're hitting every area, of my life at the moment, but it's under control because I am protected and God is good. But also, I'm on here to tell you guys about my relationship with God, because I said to you guys that I wanted you guys to know, and I felt, again, with the stories that I've put on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook page, which is the same videos, but the whole thing about the supernatural, just my walk, my journey, was to also tell you about my experiences. And I did say to you guys that, I wanted to tell you guys how I got my, connection with God so strong and stuff, or, how, just about mine and God's relationship, basically. So, right, so you've got the first story, my first clear audience. No, this is going to be my first clear audience story that I'm going to tell you guys. But I have on my channel my first clairvoyant experience, okay? And that was seeing Jesus in his sandals and his robe. And so yeah, I'll continue. So I'll tell you a couple of, one is a lucid dream, and then the other one is awake. But I'll tell you about it again. I'll tell you about it when I'm talking. Anyway, right, okay, right. So when I got my own flat when I was just turned 16. So I was 15, just turning 16. And, I lived in a flat, and I had like close friends that came over, and, kid in it's easy, or have other friends come over or whatever. Anyway, I was 17 and I went to one of my friend's house that usually stays at the flat, that stayed at the flat where I was living at my home. And I went with her to where she lived. I was sleeping on the floor, and I remember I made a bed on the floor, and I remember I had this lucid dream, and what it was is I saw Satan, and he was in fire, and he was just there, like in fire, but in in my mind's vision, well, in a lucid dream, which was still my mind's vision because I was in a lucid dream, but he was right there. So I'd say it was in my third eye vision. Anyway, I said, Jesus, help me. So I shouted that out, and then it was a like when you're changing dimensions, like in a when you're changing dimensions in a, if you was watching a movie. I remember it. There was something I remember watching back in the day, and it used to be like when they were changing a scene, and it was going into a different dimension. It was exactly that. Anyway, after I said Jesus help me, it went I found myself like, it was like I was going twirling around into another dimension or a different zone or something. Anyway, I landed somewhere, and it was in a big cathedral, and his cathedral was so tall, and it had red carpet, and it had rows on each side. I can't tell you how many rows on this side and that side, but there were loads of rows, and there were angels, loads of angels. Couldn't see their hand colour, couldn't see their faces, but saw the wings. So I knew there were angels, and there were tons of thousands of them. I can't tell you how many, but there were loads. On just one level, there was loads, just, and there was many levels. Anyway, walking on this red carpet, and next thing I know, I'm in front of 3 stairs in front of me, and on the stairs was a throne, and sitting in the throne was Jesus. He had a gold stick in this hand. He had his hands on the throne, on the chair, on the throne. His hands were blurred. This hand was blurred. It was a gold stick, and it had a red ruby up the top of it. Okay. So I was standing there. It had that. I believe that he had a crown, but his face was blurred out. And there were these 2 things, and I know it's the same thing that it says in the Bible. And it was a creature, these creatures. I don't know if the ones with the 4 faces, or I don't know, okay, right? But there were 2 creatures, okay? Couldn't see them properly, were blurred, but they were different. I know that much. And there was one on that side, and there was one on that side. So each side of Jesus sitting down in the throne. And Jesus started to talk to me, and I don't know what he was saying in my natural ears, but he spoke to my soul, okay? So after that dream, I didn't know how to take it. I was thinking, what did, Jesus say? What did he have to say to me? I just couldn't think what was said. That dream was on my mind for a long time. I even think about it now, when I have to, talk about certain things and that. And that was just amazing. So for a while, I just didn't know what, that meant, or what Jesus was trying to say. And in 2003, 2018, no, hold on, sorry. In 2000, I was 18, 19, 20, 21. So 2001, 2, 3. I was 21 when I had this experience, and yeah. So my partner at the time, this person who it was my partner at the time later became my husband, and I have 3 children for this person. But at this time, I was 21. We only had 2 children together at the time, 2 boys, and my partner at the time went over to his grandmother to see her in St. Lucia. So he travelled over to another country, and I stayed with my mum and my dad at the time. They didn't want me to stay on my own with the boys at the flat, so they wanted me to come over and stay with them. And it was in my old room growing up that we stayed and slept in. It was a double bunk bed, a triple one. It was a double bunk bed down the bottom, and there was a single one up the top. So I stayed in that room, which was my old room. My brothers were sleeping on a double bed, and me and my 2 sons, only little, we went on the single bed up the top, which wasn't a lot of room at all. But, you know, we went to, you know, make it work, and, you know, and it was fine. But this one time, which I'm going to tell you about, but I was not smoking at the time because I was singing. So I was smoking cigarettes, no weed, no nothing. And my mum, because my family, you know, they're more drinkers than they are, you know, weed smokers, if you get what I mean, or smoking, you know. And so my mum, she had rum, and rum just gave me a stomach ache. In fact, spirits gave me a stomach ache. So I didn't, you know, have any alcohol or anything. So I was just sober for these 2 weeks while my, you know, partner, you know, went off and that. Anyway, I mean, I've never been a drinker like that anyway, you know, and smoking is something I put on and off. And this night, I can't remember how many nights in when I stayed that this happened. I can't remember that, but I was lying down, and I'm here, and then I've got my youngest over in the middle. So he's just gone like 1 year old. He's in the middle here, and then next to him is my son, my other son, and he's 2. Yeah, he's 2, nearly 3, and this one's 1, nearly 2. Okay, or even less than that, you know. I don't even think he was 1.5. But anyway, what I usually did was put him to lie down on me, hush him to sleep, the baby, the over a year old, and hush him to sleep, and then I put him to lie down. You know, my oldest son was near the wall, and then the youngest one was in the middle. So I put him to sleep and I put him to lie down. This particular night, I must have been so tired, and I didn't put him to lie down. So I feel that what happened that night was I left him with me, or left him on me, should I say, or I don't know, left him either asleep, he fell asleep on me, or, you know, I don't know. I didn't put him in the middle, I know that much. I fell asleep before that happened. Anyway, I was lying down. I just finished dreaming, and I know I just finished dreaming because it was so, I was supposed to know that I had just finished dreaming, okay? The dream finished, and I was just, my mind was just clear. It was like I could have opened my eyes after the dream, but it wasn't to happen that way. So I just finished dreaming. Can't even tell you what the dream was about, and I don't remember it either. And then I can't even tell you what happened first. I'm lying down on my back, and if you can imagine, there's not much room from the ceiling to me because I'm on a double bunk bed. So the ceiling, I don't know how much tall it must have been from, you know, me lying down to, you know, the ceiling, but I felt it open. My eyes were shut, but they felt like they were fixed shut, you know, looking back, and, you know, but even though it was like fixed shut, I didn't feel to want to open them either. So it was like it was all done that way. Anyway, my eyes were shut. They weren't closely shut, they were lightly shut. And the ceiling was open. I promise you, there was no ceiling. The ceiling was gone. It wasn't breezy, but I knew there was no ceiling. And I heard this voice, and I know it was God because of his voice. It was his tone, okay? He went, Natasha. That's how he called me. And the voice, you know, in the Bible when it says, I think it's thunder, water, to do with water anyway. I can't remember it right now. Thunder, I don't know. It explains God's voice being away, and they're right. They're right. I mean, people say like the Bible isn't true. I go by what I feel led to go by with the Bible. So I've witnessed it myself, and then I've seen it said in the Bible. So say for example this, I can say that God's voice is like the thunder, or, you know, the many waters, whatever they said in the Bible. When he's a voice, it didn't have an accent. It was a voice of authority. When I heard him say Natasha, God say Natasha, like Natasha, like I just took a breath. There was no breath. Okay, this is God's voice. This is how it was, man. It just got my attention. If there was, I'm telling you, man, even if there was like little flipping, if I was outside and there was little beetles around and little mice, rabbits, everyone would have just stopped to listen to that voice. Once that voice said or called their name, like even my name, everyone would be like, they'll freeze. It was that deep. And God gave me a message, and it was basically, and in the same voice tone, yeah, as deep and as loud and as it was, he managed to get me a message in the same tone. Unbelievable. And it's an accent like no one's ever heard before, and it's such a distinctive voice. So he told me to move Brandon, move Brandon from the side of the bed before he falls. Okay, so as soon as I got that message, when I heard God talking though, the ceiling was open, and as I said, I felt it was open on my face. I heard God speaking, but there was a doorway in my mind on my left-hand side, okay? And this doorway, when God was speaking, it was open, but I didn't know it opened until it shut. Do you see what I mean? Because my focus was God's giving me a message. I can't believe what's going on here, but I couldn't even get into that. Oh my gosh, what's going on? All I knew, I just had to pay attention. That was all I know, man. God, you know, it's God. I know his voice now because I've explained it to me in the Bible, and that's it. Look, think about that. how did they know that God's voice was like that? Because it really is. How did they know that though? The Bible. So they've experienced God's voice. They had to have. Do you see what I mean? They've had to have heard his voice for them to have known it was such a powerful voice. Like thunder, like it was, man. And it was like God was talking from heaven down to the ceiling in some kind of like speaker or some kind of like trumpet or something, or it was just a connection from heaven. I didn't believe God was right in front of, just at the ceiling. No, it sounded like God was talking from high up. He weren't there. He was all the way up there talking down. It was like he was talking down through a tunnel. Anyway, after the message was given to me, the door shut. I remember that first. And then as soon as that shut, I felt the ceiling shut back. It won't open anymore. And then my eyes just opened. And then makes you wonder, was my eyes just fixed that way? I feel like my eyes were just fixed that way. I weren't supposed to open my eyes, but then didn't feel like I needed to open my eyes, or I wanted to open my eyes, or I should have opened my eyes. It felt like it just went along. It was supposed to happen like that. I weren't supposed to open my eyes. And first thing, as soon as that shut, I thought to myself, Brandon, because he said his name. So I'm thinking, I need to find him, first thing I did was put my hand on the side, okay? First thing I did, I thought, Brandon, and then I put my hand right next to me, and I didn't feel it there. I was like, oh my gosh, I could just feel my other son. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I had to be careful because everything was pitch black. I couldn't see a thing, absolutely couldn't see a thing. And, the ladder was down the bottom on the other side. And I feel like as the night would have gone on, I would have kicked him off the bed. On whatever that would have happened once I'd done that, I feel like it would have been something like maybe he could have got brain damaged or he would have died. And then that would have messed up, maybe, I don't know, whatever it is that I needed to do for God, or whatever it was, God intervened to give me that message. And for God to intervene, I feel like maybe he just wanted to say hello, because it's not the first encounter I had with God after that. We just became really, really close. And but after this experience though, I mean, I managed to find Brandon, and he was down the bottom of the bed, and he would have, I would have kicked him off the bed, and I thank God so much for that, and that's not the only thingy. With my other son, I remember also I went to someone's house, and I had my son there, and I was in the kitchen having a conversation, and I was just like, I don't know what happened. Everything just went disorientated. Like I just felt like everything just went disorientated in me, and I just felt weird. And first thing I was just like, hold on, where's my son? That was the first thing. I don't know, I just went looking for him, and there was a big window open. But gosh, he would have gone through it, and then he would have gone. Do you know what I mean? But my intuition, and I just thank God for these, these things, like my youngest daughter, she was in her bedroom on the bunk bed, and she was coming down the stairs, but she was going frontwards down instead of turning around. And I tell her so many times, turn around while you're going down the stairs. She didn't listen. But as she was going down the front way, she said to me that she heard a voice, and it said, "Be careful, Faith," like that. So that was an angel, but she witnessed that as well, and that was another helping hand. So I just thank God for all these, like all these, what's the word? All these, when someone intervenes, so it's my stomach. Someone intervenes. I thank God that, he intervened, angel intervened, my intuition intervened. But after that, basically what happened, after that, what basically happened was, yeah, so after that, what happened? Yeah, so after I got my son back, and I, I told everyone the next day. I didn't know how no one sort of, basically, there was two ways I could have gone, and I ended up going the other way, basically. And I feel even to this day that was the best way I could have gone, because I heard God's voice and I didn't know what it meant. And no one else has heard God's voice. And no one else has got a message from God. So I just didn't know what to do with that information. I didn't know anyone spiritual around me, like nothing, like, now when everyone's in tune with the intuition and the supernatural and, into tarot or anything like that. I didn't know anyone like that. So I had to, I don't know, I just went the other way. If I'd gone the good way, for example, when I'm saying good and bad, it's not, had I gone the good way, I would have ended up as a nun, which you can't even see a nun. There's no meaning of a nun in the Bible. There's no word saying nun. Not the way we see a nun, a lady. It's not in the Bible. Nuns are not in the Bible. And I would have got myself into religion, which was a demonic way to go, would have been a demonic way to go anyway. So, even though I went the other way and, ended up, divorcing early from my husband, that, there was nothing wrong with him. But I came away from it because of myself, there was stuff, I didn't understand it. I knew there was something I had to do, but I didn't know what it was. And I didn't understand it, but I knew I was having encounters with Jesus, then God. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what do I need to know here? Like, there's something I need to know and I don't know what it is. So, that's how that pastor and the ministry managed to get away with what they got away with, because I knew something was going to happen. God was going to use me for something, and, even to, add to that, when I had the out of body experience, and that was because of God, because I asked him to enhance my spiritual gifts, not knowing what he was going to do. And I had the out of body experience. And after I saw the lights with me and my daughters lying in bed, I just thought they were auras. But it was because of Shri Krishna that came into my dream twice that made me know it was chakras and they had a different meaning, and that otherwise I wouldn't have known. And I don't read the Gita, and I don't know nothing about Sri Krishna or the Hindu religion, so I couldn't understand why he was in my dream. But when he did turn up the first time in my dream talking to me, again, he's talking to my soul. And, he's so smiley, so smiley. This Sri Krishna was so smiley, so happy, like, smiley, happy, happy, talking. He talked a lot. But I can't remember what he said. It was my soul he was talking to. But what I do remember was me saying, it's not Jesus. I was shaking my head, actually, saying, it's not Jesus. It's not Jesus, because his energy was it matched Jesus. Sri Krishna's energy matched Jesus. And so that's why I feel comfortable talking about Sri Krishna, what I know about him and the lights, because he visited me in my dream and he spoke to me on the level, and my soul has picked up that he has the same energy as Jesus. So I know Shri Krishna is real, just like I know Jesus is real. They both existed sometime in this world, and they are who it's been said they are. They are of God. I can't talk about anyone else, but I can talk about Jesus, and I can talk about God, and I can talk about Shri Krishna. And yeah, there's nothing more really to say. I back then, as I said, I could have gone one way or the other way. I ended up, partying, going out for parties, end up, leaving, and starting again. And then when I did start again, these pastors came in and, they messed it up. But these pastors, this pastor, this demonic thing. And I thank God for the angel that warned me before they came into my life. Praise God. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. And, it was those two encounters that made my fire burn so strong for God. Because, I know there's not many people that's experienced what I had experienced, and I give thanks for it. I'll give thanks to God also. So you guys, that is, what made me, get close to God. And, as the years went on, he showed me other stuff and we got closer. And yeah, I'm just thankful on this journey, and I'm just gonna get my certificate. And what else, I've got some things to advertise. You will see me back on here soon, but I'm just giving all of social media a break, and I'm just spending time with my children, family, and my partner, him healing me healing him. And yeah, just chilling this divine love and this love that God has blessed us with. And the know nothing people are still about. Absolutely, they are. And I'm aware they are about, and I'm aware what they're trying to do. But I also am aware of God's power and his power that's within me. And they don't stand a chance, because no weapon formed against me, my children, or my partner, or even God's children shall prosper. So just keep the faith, guys, because God is real. And I have other stories as well that, just quickly, that doorway in my left-hand side, when God spoke and I heard that doorway open, I had a dog that had epilepsy. We had a dog that had epilepsy. I wasn't fond of dogs, too much, but when it got to the point where he had epilepsy, he was only a puppy, and I got fond of him and everything. And it got to the point where his epilepsy was so bad we had to put him down, and that was such a heartbreak. At the time I was still Catholic, so I had my rosary and I put it around the dog's neck, and he was barking, and that injection just made him go silent, and that heart broke me so badly. And I was really surprised, because I'm more like a cat person than a dog, but I was really surprised. And I that night, I said to God, I wonder if he went to heaven. That dog cartoon, All Dogs Go to Heaven. And we was watching it like at our house, and I can't remember, it must have been before, Blue passed away, which was the dog. And I wanted to know, do dogs actually go to heaven? It was a question I asked God. And as I was falling asleep that night, that door opened up and I heard him bark. And after that, I was just like, yep, they do. Yep, they do. So I know that dogs go to heaven. They actually do. And so sending everyone much love. And take care, guys, and I'll see you soon.